Hey, Shalom Markham. This is Rikar Makapash from GMS London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chachadash. I want to give double honor to the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole for like pushing his truth and all sincerity. Back again with another video, and I've got this article here from the BBC weather page, right? This came out recently, 7th of May, so it says. But, I saw this just a few days ago, actually, right? So I guess it's a little bit of an old article, but well, we now know that they already putting this in place. So, you know, these men are really looking to do it, right? And I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video just yet. Something along the lines of Esau's really looking for Doomsday, right? Because he's looking to, just like Esau in true fashion, he messes around with everything. He messes around with the whole creation that the Most High, had established or has established. Right, and he thinks he can just do things like play around with, the sunlight, how much sun people are going to receive, and all in the name of battling what he calls climate change. Right, he's on crusade. Right, got you people believing in his crusade. Right, so he's telling you that he needs to do all this to prevent the planet from destroying itself in the next 10,000 years or whatever the hell. He's saying it's not going to happen, but, these men are really looking to blow out the sun. Now, the Most High said he's going to do that, right? I read that, the Lord's going to blow out the sun through this destruction that's going to come upon the earth through war, through the missiles, all right? That's going to, destroy America, destroy, in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, all that, the skies, the sun, stars, and the moon are going to be blotted out because of the smoke, right? But Esau, he's trying to push these reflecting chemical compounds in the Earth's atmosphere or stratosphere or whatever, man. So Arka's going to go into it so he can control the temperature of the Earth, right? Like it's his place to do that, right? But this is the pride and the the delusion of Esau, believing that he's God and he gets to control, all aspects of life when he feels like it, because he's got the technology to do it, so he thinks, it's like it, right? So yeah, so the title of this article is UK experiments to reflect sunlight one step closer. Again, this is dated 7th of May, right? Which I guess is not too long ago, but literally I saw this just a few days ago. So, but I've heard, I've seen this before, them we're talking about it, right? But they're pushing to do it, right? Here in the UK at least. So it says controversial experiments exploring the science around reflecting sunlight with an aim to bring about global cooling have been announced, right? Because they say the world is warming up, right? So they're trying to find a way to cool it down, right? And it's funny because all this, all the talk of chemtrails back in the past, these conspiracy theories and whatever, right, end up being, although they deny those things, that they're going to be doing it anyway. So, don't really matter, does it? The man that still do it. Anyway, it says the Advanced Research and Innovation Agency, a government-backed body. It's always a backed body. It's these people you don't fucking know. Some body that appeared out of nowhere and established themselves as some type of authority, right? That's telling you, man, that you could do this or you don't do this or you can do this. The who, the whys, right? The who and the wef, all these governing bodies or whatever, telling people what they should and shouldn't be doing, right? Backed on science, right? Esau science, right? A government-backed body is funding nearly 60 million that could allow real-world experiments, including in the UK, right? So again, it's an experiment. These men don't fucking know what the hell's gonna happen, man. But to me, this don't sound like no good idea, right? You're still gonna end the world early, if you could, right? As part of the Exploring Climate Cooling Program, projects in solar radiation modification will involve trying to thicken Arctic sea ice and make clouds more reflective. But critics have real concerns about the impact of SRM on weather patterns and our health, seeing it as a distraction to drastic decarbonisation. right? And all this is everything that Esau be doing serves as a distraction, man. He got you focusing on stuff, man, that you know takes your eye off what he's really doing. Global average temperatures in 2024 were running at 1.6 Celsius above pre-industrial levels, temporarily exceeding the target set out by the 2015 Paris Agreement. Current trajectories show the world passing 1.5 Celsius of long-term warming by the end of the early 2030s. While extreme weather is a consequence of climate change, this is what they're telling you, or it's what they're telling us, right? That extreme weather is due to, this climate change, right? The earth warming up or whatever. There are concerns of abrupt and potential irreversible shifts in the climate system. Some of these shifts are so-called tipping points, such as a collapse of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, right? Might be closer to happening within the next century than we'd like, right? And this is all because Esau's in rulership, by the way. If this is really happening, it's really going on, if this is really, something that's that he's doing, right? It's because of him, and this is the biggest problem. It's not it's not the weather, right? It ain't the Arctic melting on that. It's Esau. He's the problem, right? Why don't we find a solution to get rid of Esau? Just saying. Well, we already got the solution. We already know what needs to happen, right? But maybe you should do some research into that. You know what I'm saying? Spending 60 billion on this stuff. Maybe we should really, spend money on getting rid of Esau, innit? One professor, he said it right. Right? You so-called white people need to be erased, right? Because you're the problem. You're the core problems to everything that's going on the earth. All right. Let me grab something. Where are we? Yeah, Revelation 11 verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, right? Small and great. And shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth, right? Who's in power? The so-called white man, who are, in fact, are the Edomites, right? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? That's what the scripture tells us, right? So we know who you are, as much as you want to deny it and run from it, right? You're the one destroying the earth with your wickedness and your pride, your humorous, right? To believe that you're some sort of master of the universe, right? And that you get to, manipulate, control the earth as you see fit, and everybody on it. All the resources belong to you, right? That's how you look at things, right? And it don't, right? Sorry, not your humorous, your hubris. That's the word. Your hubris, right? Because you look at yourself as some type of god, and you get to make decisions like this. Well, maybe if you just, and the worst thing about it, right? All these things that he's complaining about right now, like I said, it all goes back to him, but he's gonna blame everybody else for it, right? And this is what the WF are here to do, right? To make sure you own nothing and supposedly be happy, right? He's gonna take away all the things that supposedly, emit carbon and all this kind of stuff, so you don't have nothing. but the elites and these guys that are running all these companies that are creating all this pollution, they still get everything. Esau's the devil, man. A damn fucking hypocrite. All right. So you got some diagrams here. How geoengineering could quote unquote cool the atmosphere. These men don't actually know yet, but they want to do all these experiments, right? 60 mil for a bunch of experiments. Got people starving and shit. People lining up at food banks or whatever. But anyway, engineering alternatives, right? So this is one of a few, I guess, ideas that they want to try. Geoengineering is a process of artificially modifying the atmosphere and climate. SRM techniques which try to mimic the natural cooling that occurs after the eruption of volcanoes. See, what we're reading here is something that happens naturally, that the Most High does on the earth anyway, right? To control climates and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's a cycle. It's in perfect harmonious balance, right? It's meant to be the way that it is. It goes off when it's supposed to go off, and it creates whatever it needs to create, the atmospheres and climates, whatever, as the Most High wills it. That's how things are supposed to go. The fact that this is happening right now, supposedly, that Earth's warming up and you're having all these problems with weather and shit, that's because the Most High wants it that way, right? Because we're coming towards the end. But you want to control, you want to manipulate that, like that devil Yuval Harari, talking about we got all this technology now, we ain't got to be afraid about the Most High doing this or doing that. Man, to hell with that devil, man. Literally. Like, I can't wait till a missile hits him. We see him in the killer, man, and I'm gonna hit him. But the Most High has got this these cycles in place already to manage the earth and to make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be, without you interfering. So the SRM techniques, which try to mimic the natural cooling that occurs after the eruption of volcanoes, releasing ash and gases, are some of the most controversial. ARIA program director, whatever. Okay. ARIA program director Mark Simon said there is a critical missing gap in our knowledge on the feasibility and impacts of SRM, and to fill that gap requires real-world outdoor experiments. So they just want to do it for real and just find out, The agency announced on Wednesday it will fund 5 projects that could lead to real-world experiments. These include research into thickening Arctic sea ice to make it more reflective, marine cloud brightening, and stratospheric aerosol injection. Outdoor experiments on sea ice thickening could take place as soon as this winter, right? So yeah, we just got into June pretty much, right? Halfway through June almost. Yeah, so maybe like 4 months from now, 4 or 5 months from now, this could be happening. So this will also fund a modeling-based project that would investigate mirrors of shades deployed into space, right? Attack from space and all kinds of things. So the one proposed MCB experiment is to spray a fine mist of natural seawater into the atmosphere from a coastal location in the UK. The hope is that it would brighten the existing clouds and increase its reflectivity. All right. So I don't know, like, if they think that if they just do this in an isolated place, that it doesn't somehow affect the rest of the earth. Because I kind of find it hard to get my head around, right? That if you're going to be brightening clouds, your clouds move. Clouds move, right? That your little experiment, which you think is an isolated place, is not affecting everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too stupid in it. I don't really understand. Maybe someone else can explain it to me. But yeah, to me that just sounds a bit crazy. That one place can get the okay, basically to make a decision for the rest of the earth, pretty much because they have to deal with it, Another funded SI project could involve sending a small amount of natural mineral dust contained within a weather balloon high into the atmosphere to see how it responds in that environment. No dust will be released. All right. How many times have I heard something like that before? Aria stressed that before any outdoor experiment takes place, there will be a full and transparent public consultation with necessary environmental assessments taking place. Well, I better make... I want a letter through my door then, asking me personally, right, about a full this is the thing, they tell you that they're doing all this stuff, man. Bro, all these consensuses that they make, well, I've never seen one of these fucking consensus things roll through my door or email or anything like that, asking me about my opinion or how do I feel about it. I ain't never seen that. These man just lie and make up shit most of the damn time, man. Or the pool that they take it from is like 1,000 people. 1,000 people got asked for the whole fucking nation. It's fucking ridiculous. And they say, the majority of people, they're okay with it or whatever. And so it goes ahead. Who asked? No one asked me. I don't know no one. I don't know anyone that got asked. It's mad. Any outdoor experimentation will only occur after robust oversight measures, which won't include the release of any toxic materials. Of course you're going to say all that, innit? Use words like robust oversight measures. Yeah, okay. But Raymond Pierre Humbert, professor of planetary physics at Oxford University, right? So he's meant to be a smart dude, right? Is extremely worried about SRM, okay, this particular type of, experiment or whatever, right? It says people want a plan B if we don't reduce global emissions, but there really is no plan B, right? It just kicks the can down the road because solar geoengineering doesn't take away the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, right? And this is the smoke and mirrors and the hypocrisy, right? They're doing things that they say is supposed to improve things, but the root of what what they're saying is the causes is the carbon dioxide, and he said, well, that doesn't address that. But we can spray all this shit in there anyway. It ain't gonna do. It ain't gonna serve that purpose. It ain't gonna actually tackle no carbon dioxide like you're supposed to be, worried about. It's not even doing that. So what are you devils doing? You're taking the piss for one, right? But right, you're just doing more devilry, man. More. That's all this chemtrail talk and all that kind of stuff. This is you adding to that, man, and getting doing it in public, and no one's gonna question you. Oh, no, they're just trying to save the planet. Don't worry about all of that, all that, all that smoke in the sky and whatever. Don't worry about the sun. We can't see the sun no more because it's dimmed out. England's got shit weather as it is, man. We need some sun. We need some sun, man. It's bad. It's bad already. All right. So studies have shown. So what are the concerns, right? Studies have shown that SRM can cause strong warming high above the tropics, changing large-scale weather patterns, warming the polar regions and altering rainfall patterns around the world. For example, it's been shown that brightening clouds off the coast of Namibia in southwest Africa could induce drought over South America. You think Esau cares about that, really? Hardly. Right? This guy's been robbing and raping, pillaging these areas already. As long as it doesn't affect his business, he don't care. It said affecting the Amazon rainforest, often referred to as the lungs of the planet. You think he cares about that, really? He don't care about that. Mr. William Gates said that's not even important. The Amazon rainforest is not important. That's what he says. They don't have no effect on global warming or whatever. Plant more trees. Oh, they don't want to hear all of that. So while global average temperatures may be reduced, the weather or climate in certain regions of the world may get worse. Esau doesn't care about everywhere, man. For SIA techniques, new aircraft would be needed, capable of flying at an altitude of 12 miles, spreading sunlight reflecting aerosols such as sulfur. I don't know. Something came to my mind I was going to say, but I'm not too sure about it, so I'm not going to bother. In case it's false information, So, however, in a study published in Earth's Future Scientists at University College London, showed that SIA could be achieved by using existing aircraft injecting aerosols at an altitude of 8 miles high instead. To inject at this lower altitude, 3 times more aerosol would be needed. Just put more in there. Would be needed to be as effective, and it would strongly increase side effects such as acid rain. Right, and so this is the type of stuff that Esau is looking into, man. Man talking about blotting out the sun. Elon talking about nuking Mars or whatever. These men are just absolutely fucking crazy, man. Right? No wonder the world's so messed up. Right? This is public perception of such techniques is also going to be a challenge, right? Primarily due to the widely known conspiracy theory of chemtrails, right? Incorrect suggestions that condensation trails, because that's what they say they officially are, right? Water vapor created from aircraft jet engines is evidence of SRM and weather modifications is happening at large scale today. So they're saying that's not happening. But people believe that it's already happening, right? But again, whether it's been happening or it's about to happen, there's no real difference in it, really. No real difference in that, really. Some of these articles. Currently, no international legislation. Currently, there is no international regulation of geoengineering. Of geoengineering. So private companies or governments are essentially able to do what they like. Right? Because of the potential for modifications in one area having an impact across the globe, which is what I mentioned earlier, experts are calling for international framework to regulate geoengineering techniques such as SRM. So you can't, you know what I mean? That's reckless just to say, well, we're going to try this out. But it's not just, you're forcing others to be affected by these experiments. These men don't care, though. So offering cooling credits, what? So, for example, a US startup company, Make Sunsets, is commercializing SRM, offering cooling credits for free. A hydrogen and sulfur dioxide filled balloon is launched and rises to 12 miles before popping and releasing the gas into the stratosphere. They claim 1 gram of this gas offsets 1 ton of carbon dioxide a year. All right. I'm going to read these last few here, and then we're going to grab the rest of these scriptures, right? So Professor Pierre Humbert is worried about ARIA and the really dangerous precedent it will set. Now the UK is pouring nearly 70 million into this and opening the door to outside experimentation, then that's just going to open the floodgates to other countries that may have fewer controls. But Sarah Hunter, chair of the area's Ethics and Social Responsibility Committee, said, "This cooling program is a vital piece of research and the thoughtful governance and engagement plans in place mean we can progress in this field in a responsible way." Esau never done nothing irresponsibly, man. Never done nothing responsibly. All right. I want to grab this. It's Isaiah 13:9, right? It says, "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh with cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine." Right. And so, like I mentioned, this is only gonna happen through all the destruction from the missiles that are going to take place all over the earth, right? Specifically America, right? But these men are at it themselves, they're trying to bring it to themselves quicker, right? That's like Esau's looking for Doomsday, right? He's looking out here to fulfill all kinds of prophecies that end up destroying him, man. And then he can't help it. He's just the devil. He's just another pawn on the Most High chessboard that is being played, right? Bringing themselves and this world closer to destruction. It's Matthew 24, verse 29. It says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." Right? Again, so the idea of all this, sun being blotted out, it's like they're not, it's like they're not even afraid. They're so oblivious, right? But even anything like this, they could be like, bringing the destruction upon themselves, but they're just so gassed and prideful. They don't care. They don't believe the words of these books. They don't believe that they're fulfilling their own destruction. Satan's talking to them and telling them, "Man, that's garbage, man. Do it anyway. Most ain't gonna do nothing." And it's like, all right, cool. And man, just go and do it. So these men, they're just going head first into their own destruction, man. No, they shouldn't be doing shit like this. This is Ezekiel 28, verse 1. "So the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Lord God Jehovah, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God." Right? He believes he's in power. He believes he's the one in control. Oh, look, I can manipulate the weather. I can manipulate the people. I can do this, I can do that. Right? He believes that he has power over the Most High. But you're just a fool, evidently, right? It says, "Thus says the Lord God Jehovah, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, which is the nations. Yet thou art man, and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God." Because you want that power seat so badly, man. And you just want to prove to yourself in the world that you got the power to do such things. But like I said, you're doing it to your own detriment. Everything that you do is to your own detriment. Everything. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 19. It says, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. Right? Esau thinks he's smart. Esau thinks he got all the answers, man. But he don't understand there's certain things he shouldn't even be delving into or tampering with. You know? He thinks this is a light thing what he's doing. But he doesn't even know the ramifications that it could cause, but he want to find out anyway. He don't care if some place in South America goes on goes for a perma drought. You know what I'm saying? And them men are suffering forever. He don't care. He don't care. So for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High, for it is written, he have taken the wise in their own craftiness. Everything that you're doing because you think you're so slick is going to end up getting your head bust, man. Okay, bringing upon yourself destruction. Right? That's why it's going to be hilarious when it happens, man. You know? But I want to close out with this, right? This is Matthew 24 and verse 22. Let me read from 21, right? It says, from then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. Right? We're coming into the worst time, and you can see it, man. Just look at the stuff that's happening. You know, some of the stuff these devils are doing right now. It's beyond crazy, right? And so yeah, we're gonna, the world's gonna be in this precarious, dangerous situation that hasn't been upon the earth before, right? And we're all going to be struggling to survive. You know? But as it says here, it says, except those days be shortened. Alright? So there should no flesh be saved. Right? You let Esau continue doing what he's doing, man. It won't be long until, the earth is really, destroyed, or the people on it destroyed. It wouldn't take long, man. And this is why he keeps talking about it, because really, like I said, he's one at home bringing about this death and destruction. It's not the climate is not the problem. It's this devil. It's Esau. He's the problem. And if you allowed him to continue ruling, for X amount of time, you'd find that, like, it's every dystopian movie that you ever watched. You know what I'm saying? It's every dystopian movie you ever watched, man. Because he's just that crazy. Right? He's just that crazy, right? So, it says, except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, right? But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, right? So we won't get to see Esau at the peak of his craziness, right? Because things would get a hell of a lot worse under his rulership, right? But the Lord don't want that to go through all of that, man. Okay, and also, he's like, no, you've been through enough, man. You don't want to see the final form of this devil, right? So he ain't gonna allow it. So he gonna drag us out of this place before then, man. Before we get to that stage. All right, but yeah, you can tell he's just a crazy dude, man. All right, he shouldn't be doing shit like this. Right, but he don't see nothing wrong with it. All right, because he's proud, But anyway, I'm gonna end it there. Lord, witness has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.